Hi, my name is Kaisa from Wreath by Kaisa, and I thought it's such a gorgeous day today, so why don't we actually do this spring wreath kit outside and enjoy the sunshine, because I feel like we've definitely been spoiled this spring. I'm going to show you the wreath kit that we're doing today. However, you can buy this in multitude of different colors. So this is the one with hot pink and blush, but we will be doing the blue and purple variation of this. But don't worry, I'll guide you every step of the way, and everything will be packed separately into little packs so that you'll know exactly what stage we're working on and what materials you need to get out. This wreath kit should take you about half an hour to an hour. Don't feel like you need to do it all in one go. I'm always saying that wreath making is supposed to be lots of fun, enjoyment, relaxing time for you. So if you want to do half of it, divide it into different sections, that's absolutely fine. Go and have a break, pause the video whenever you want to, go and grab yourself a nice cup of tea or a nice cold drink if you're working outside, and just take your time with it, and just remember to have fun and enjoy making your wreath. I'm just going to adjust my camera so you can see the wreath base that we're going to be working on, just to make the instructions a bit clearer. So you will also need a glue gun to work with this. It is the easiest way just to attach everything onto the base, because there's a lot of materials to go onto this. So you could use floral wire as well, but it would take you such a long time that you wouldn't thank me. So we're going to start off by working with your foliage. So we've got stems of ruscus leaves, and we've then got eucalyptus, but we're just going to start off with the ruscus leaves. Now these are quite long, these stems, so you've got two ways to attach these. So option one, you can snip this off, and then that way you will have two shorter stems that you can use. So we're just going to start pushing these. So add a little bit of glue. Let me move my glue gun so you can see what I'm doing. So you add a little bit of glue onto the end, twirl it around, and then you just push this in. So with these grape wine or willow bases, is much easier to work with, because you've got lots of these lovely little gaps to push materials into, which is one reason I have specifically chosen this one, to make it easier for you to work with it. And just mind your fingers, as the hot glue will burn you if you get it on your fingers. Let's get rid of that. So I've now attached two of these. Now I think it looks quite nice if you divide these into all of these into twos. That way you get a lot more coverage. I'm going to show you the other way to do this. So we're going to add a little bit of glue again, and we are going to push this one in. So now this stem I have not shortened it, none whatsoever, so it's completely full. However, when you then go on to adding your flowers, you can twist this across, so you can then fold it over whichever way you want. So although it's longer, it will still blend in really nicely, and then you can adjust it. So I've shown you two different ways. You choose whichever way you want to. If you want to go with these longer stems, feel free. And then if you then think, once you finish, that actually I want to go with the shorter ones, you can just cut them shorter. But you can sort of see here the difference. These are the shorter ones, these are the longer ones. So the longer ones will give you a bit more of a fuller look. Plus also then, if this now makes sense, when I said to you that you can fold them over, once you then put flowers on top, the same stem will sort of divide onto the inner and outer bit as well. But I feel like whenever I do these instruction videos, I always just want to highlight the fact that it doesn't have to be exactly the same way as I do it. You might have a different preference, and it's absolutely fine to get creative and do things exactly the way you want, as wreath making is not an exact science, which is, I guess, why I like it so much. Yeah, it doesn't have to be, everything doesn't have to look unified, and everything doesn't have to look the same. But that's then also the beauty of creating something unique. Because if you go to shops and you see wreaths, obviously they all look very unified and they all look exactly the same. But that's one of the reasons why I love making wreaths, is that you can actually do something completely unique, and you can put your own twist to it, and just have it look the way you want it. Now, I don't know if I've shown you, but you can see that you've got these metal wires here on the wreath base. These are pretty handy ones to use when you're attaching your foliage, so that you can sort of twist it underneath. They sort of you can use them as like little stoppers to push everything in. So I've got 3 stems left, and I think I've been adding these so thickly that I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna chop some of these into the smaller stems that I was talking to you earlier about, just so that I can make these last. So I think with this one, because I've been adding them so frequently, we're gonna do a mix of different ones and different lengths. As that's, I think that will look really nice. I'm gonna push this one in here, fold that one over, and let's cut this one shorter as well. And then, so I'll do 2 shorter ones, and then I'll do 2 longer ones again. Or one, I think I've got one left there. Okay, so that one falls there. And it's the only annoying thing working with glue, is that you get these little annoying strands everywhere. Which is, I guess, another great reason to be working outside. Sorry, that's the neighbor's dog. There you go. And we've got one more. No, I lied. We've still got a couple more of these left. Okay, I'm gonna keep filling this up. So, whatever materials you get in this, just feel free to just utilize everything, because especially with the foliage, the more that you put on, the lusher and fuller it will obviously look. And don't worry, that's sticking up. Don't worry about anything if it looks like it's sticking up, as we'll fix it into place later on. So just for now, don't worry if you're thinking like, oh, that looks a bit wild. It will all make sense in the end. So we've now gone around the whole wreath base and added some foliage. I'm just having a look. I think I've got a couple areas where I think, I could have a little bit more there. So I'm gonna snap this into 2, this last stem. Add these ones in. I think this bit needs another one here. And now you can sort of understand when I said to you that it's not an exact science. So I haven't measured these, I haven't counted like how much I'm using where. I'm just sort of having a look at it and then deciding that actually that's where I feel like we need one more here on the inner side. Oh, I like that. So we've now done all the ruscus stems that came within the kit. Now, next, let's open the pack that says eucalyptus and filler flowers. So you will have a mixed variety of filler flowers. Sometimes there's always differences in whatever I can get available in stock. So that's why I just like to pack them all together and say eucalyptus and filler flowers, so that you know, right, this is the section that you then need to get out of your wreath kit. So that's the eucalyptus stems, and then we've got these filler flowers as well. So I've got some baby's breath, and we're going to be using, but as I said, and gives a feel, but as I said, it's always going to be a little bit different in whatever comes in which kit. So again, there's not an exact rule on how you attach these, but I sort of like to take turns, and that way it sort of looks a little bit more natural, and it's just got a nice flow. But if you want to do it differently, then honestly, just follow your own lead, do what you want. But let's start off with the eucalyptus. So we're going to do the glue again, and we're going to use these. Remember when I said to you about the wires here on this base? We're going to use them as just because it just works out really easy for you to be attaching things in. So we've done one eucalyptus. Then let's then add some flowers, and these are, so you've got two ends on this one. Let's cut this off so that we've got the two ends separate, and that way we can then create even a fuller look, because then these will spread out even more. So we've got one there. Then let's go with the different type, and I'm gonna just take two of these because I feel like we could do two, and they will go there perfectly. So if you're seeing what I'm doing, I'm sort of measuring first just to see, sort of find the perfect place for everything, and sort of finding the perfect gaps to then insert flowers in. And I'm gonna just shorten the eucalyptus stems a bit. You can get cheap wire cutters from Amazon. When I first started wreath making, I just said to my husband, have you got an old pair of wire cutters that you no longer need? And he gave me a pair. So doesn't have to be massively fancy, anything will pretty much just do the trick. And now we're gonna go for this blue one next, just because I like to mix it up a bit. So this one is perfect spot for that. Goes there. Stem ready here. So let's then go with, I'll add this one onto the inner side, and then we'll do another one on the outer side, so that they're sort of mixing in seamlessly. There you go. Another glue stick. And next, let's do eucalyptus again. But as I said, feel free to mix it up. But if you want to follow my lead, then that's why I'm just telling you whatever I'm doing next, just to sort of make it easier to follow. But as I said, you don't have to if you don't want to. I'm gonna go with these teal. I love the teal colors at the moment. It's like one of my favorites. Sometimes I get obsessed with colors, and at the moment I think this teal is my current obsession. And actually now when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that's too much. So I'm going to pull this one out. So I said to you that always not an exact science. This is what I mean. So sometimes you put something in and you go like, oh, hang on, that doesn't work. So I've swapped it over to this lighter blue color just because I felt that there was teal, too much of teal in one place. So I swapped that one over. And that's then the other thing. You might finish your wreath and then you might look at it and you might think, oh, actually, that doesn't work there and that doesn't work there. So you can always change things around. But I'll show you once we finish with the filler flowers. We can just play around with the flowers. And that's then going to give you a good idea on how you can then spread everything over. I think you can just move them around and sort of create your own pattern before you start attaching them. There's a bit of teal there, and let's do another teal on this bit here. That's that. And let's go with this lighter blue again, just to mix things up a bit. And as I said, don't worry if you feel like, sorry, don't worry if you feel like you can't keep up with me. What you can then do is if you then need more time in doing your filler flowers and your eucalyptus, just pause the video. You don't want to rush things, but equally I'm trying to always do these instructions quite a bit quicker. I don't like to spend too much time in each step. Also if you are faster, so that you don't then feel like it's taking forever. I've also been doing wreaths now for about 3 years, so I have got a lot faster with time as well. Okay, so this is the one we previously took out. Let's put this one here. Oh, that's nice there. Then these blue ones next. Actually, I got one more eucalyptus, so I'm gonna stick the eucalyptus onto the inner side. So just so that there's like a nice flow of everything spread out across. There you go. And then I'm gonna go with this lighter blue. That's then gonna be going into, where do I want to put it? Onto there. Perfect. So that's then all the eucalyptus and all the filler flowers added. Sorry, it's a bit difficult to try and show you the whole thing on the camera when it's turned down like that. But that is then everything added on. So now is the fun part. So now you can take out your next pack that says flowers, and within that pack you will have all your flowers that you will then be adding on next. I've left some all the way up there. So now what you can do is just play around with the flowers a bit. You can follow my exact instructions and do them exactly in the same order, but also before you start adding anything on, why don't you just add them on and just sort of push them in and just have a little feel on like how you want to divide them. So do you want to follow an exact sequence like I've done, like I'll be doing? Or do you feel like that actually you want to mix it up a bit and you want to put things together? So I'm going to be doing these pretty much that I have got a rose gerbera if that's how you pronounce it in English. Sorry, I'm Finnish, so my English isn't always perfect. And another rose, and then we've got these little roses that we're then going to be adding on here as well in between. Or you might want to do it that you might want to just add the roses, 2 roses next to each other, then do them, get better, whatever you prefer, that is absolutely fine. So if you want to just play around, pop the flowers on and just sort of push them in just ever so slightly, ever so gently, and just have a little feel, have a little play, and just figure out what is it exactly that you want to do with everything. And then we can get started on adding the flowers. So if you feel like you want to pause the video and have a little feel, go for it. Otherwise, we are just going to get started. So let's start off with a rose. So you got 2 different roses in your pack. I just added a lovely big squirt of glue. And then you're gonna have to hold it in for quite a bit, wait for the glue to set. So there's always a little stem at the bottom that you're then pushing in, but also then just waiting for that glue to set. And I think I would then next want to utilize this one and put these blush roses, and I'm gonna fold them over so that they sort of fold over onto both sides. And then, as you can see, I can't just sit here holding a flower, so I'm always like, ooh, I'm holding with my left hand, and then my right hand is already planning on the next step. This, oh, that will look nice. Yeah, I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue here onto the base, just because I've already managed to push that rose in. So I pushed in the little cluster of mini roses, and then my gerbera is gonna go on next. Just difficult sometimes to try and catch them little gaps within the wreath base. And then we can fold these over. As you can see, it's still a bit wobbly, so I'm just gonna hold it on for a bit longer, but at least now I can hold things with my both hands. So I'll be doing this for a bit. Just so nice outside when you can just listen to the birds. That feels a lot sturdier. That's good. Let's move this around. And then let's go for, so now I'm showing you, you know when I said to you about the big ones that you can fold them. So I'm sort of gonna have it, I'm gonna try and show you. So where's the stem? Where's it gone? This one here. So rather than having it go this way, I'm gonna have it go this way, and then I'm gonna pin the rose right onto where my finger is, so that then this longer stem is gonna divide between the inner bit and the outer bit. So it's sort of going to then sit there in between the both inner side and the outer side of the wreath. There you go. I was going to hold it. So we've now done a rose cluster of mini roses, gerbera, another color rose. And I think I might actually do just these ones in this case. So depending on the color, you will have a different amount of different types of flowers. I think I'm gonna go with these white or these cluster of roses again. I'm gonna put them in here. They will then go on next. And again, I'm sort of folding them from half of them will sort of sit in there on the outer side, and half of them will sit on the inner side. And then we're gonna do our next rose. And this is then just gonna sit here. And now that we're adding the flowers, you can actually see that the wreath is starting to take form, and it's starting to look like a wreath rather than just random bits of greenery. And it's okay if you can see the wreath base in areas, but I'm trying to sort of cover everything up with the flowers so that then you can't really see the actual wreath base. And I sort of love mixing the flowers with like different sizes as well and different colors, because that always makes it look a little bit more vibrant and less staged whenever you have different sizes mixed in with each other. So let's then go with the Canberra again. And that one actually sticks in nicely because the Gerberas have got like a lot thicker stem, so you push that one in and you don't actually need to hold it as in with the roses. It's a lot more delicate. Let's then go in with this one. So I'm gonna then go with the small rose next. And then I've managed to make a little bit of a mess and poured some hot glue onto one of these leaves, which will happen. So I've just used the wire cutters to just snap it off. It's easily done, but if that happens, don't worry, you can just snap it off. Haven't ruined anything. Push that a little bit more in, and then let's go with the purple one. And this one refuses to be pushed in. There we go. That one goes in there. Now that I put this one in, I can see, as in then sometimes when you then start placing your flowers, that's where you can then see the sort of imperfections and the areas that are a little bit, that aren't filled up as much. So like now when I'm looking here, I can see that there's a little gap in the foliage. I think sometimes it's difficult to see it when you're just adding the flowers. Or, sorry, just adding the foliage on its own. But once you then add the flowers, you will then see. So what I'm gonna do now, just as I showed you before, I'm snapping one of the longer stems into a shorter one, and then I can put that one there, and now that little gap there is filled. As in, although as much as you try and look at it to begin with, but until you add the flowers, sometimes it is then difficult to see how everything will look exactly until you've done the flowers as well. Okay, let's turn this around again. So after purple, we would then go with, I think with the navy blue, but because I've put in one of them smaller navy blues, I'm just gonna push this one in. I'm gonna go with the smaller size rose first. I like it when they're like these little clusters of 4. You can fold them over so that you've got 2 for the inner side, 2 for the outer side, so it sort of spreads out really nicely. Okay, I'm just going to be pressing that one down again. And our next one will then be the gerbera again. With this one, we're going to fold over a stem again here, like I showed you before. So this thing going to spread out nicely on both sides. Okay. Then go with that. I'm going to need more glue, another glue stick in. And that is then done. last flower attached. Then you should have in your wreath kit, you should also have a small bag of leaves. Now that small bag of leaves is basically your emergency repair kit. Now them leaves you can choose to use or not use, but if you are a perfectionist like I am, sometimes what really gets to me if I look at the wreath and I see little bits of glue exposed, so then you can add the little leaves just to cover up the little imperfections. At the end of the day, when it's hanging on your door, nobody's gonna see the little bits of glue, only you know that they're there. But I sometimes just find it really irritating when I can see bits there that aren't supposed to be there. So I always just rather add in just a couple of extra leaves just to cover things up. So just gonna take a leaf, add a bit of glue onto the base, and like here I can see a little dollop of glue. So I'm gonna put one leaf there, and now I can't see the glue anymore. Nice. So let me then lift up the camera again, because otherwise you're gonna struggle to see what the finished wreath looks like. And this is what we've done today. I absolutely love the blue with the purple colors combined. Then I've got one more that needs a little bit more glue there, because I can see it's a little bit loose. So I'm gonna fix that one into place, and then you can fold the foliage, making sure you've got all the gaps covered, and it's all done. I'm just going to wait for this glue to set, and then I'm going to show you the last finishing steps. So as I said, you'll have a bag of leaves. You can use them or not use them. Feel free to do whatever you want with them, but you can use them to cover up the little specific exposed areas of glue. So I will find one here for you, and I will show you what I mean, although it is pretty self-explanatory. But such as like here, you can see there's a tiny bit of glue. Now nobody's ever gonna see that, but I like to always just make sure that all the glue is covered, because if I know it's there, it's gonna annoy me. So I always cover it up. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. As in, when you look at this, I can't see any glue anyway. So it's only if you start pulling things apart and examining it. So next thing you want to do is you want to have a look and decide how you want to hang your wreath. Now turn it around and figure out which one is the top. So there's not really any rules to it apart from what appeals to your eye. What is your visual or vision for the wreath? For me, I'm gonna hang it this way. I don't know why, but that is what I want to do. So you've got some ribbon there, some rustic jute ribbon, and what you're gonna do is you are just going to put it through here. So it just basically goes in through there, in between the flowers, so it's nice and hidden, tied onto a knot, and then that's it. And then you can make sure that everything is then folded over, so you can't actually even see the ribbon once you've got it hanging. And then one last step, aftercare. So I've given you an aftercare card just to guide you on how to look after your wreath. You can follow it, you don't have to follow it. It's just there as a guide to make sure that your wreath lasts longer. Doesn't mean that you have to follow everything down to a T. Some people have got their wreaths exposed to sunlight and, you know, rain, and it is what it is. Then you just know that then your wreath is not going to last as long, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. Then you can just make another one. But we're going to just spray it with some hairspray. So any hairspray will do. We're just going to spray the flowers, and this is just going to add a little bit of a protection. Repeat that every 3 to 4 months, 2 to 3, I think I said 2 to 3 months, about every 3 months. And it's just gonna help it last longer, because it's gonna do a little protective coating onto all the flowers. Now, I really hope you enjoyed making this wreath with me today. Please feel free to comment, send any questions over if something wasn't clear. Just contact me and ask questions if you want to. The wreath kit will be available to buy through my Etsy store. I'm gonna add a link to the video for you to purchase if you wanted to do the wreath kit yourself, or obviously you can always just change things around and just use materials you've got at home and just follow the tutorial and just let's have fun and make wreaths. Okay, thank you so much.